Donald Trump's lies about fraudulent elections are having an impact. Nearly 1 in 6 election workers received threats of violence after the 2020 election, according to the Brennan Center for Justice. Joining me now is Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, who testified today before Congress about the threats ahead of this November's election. Secretary Benson, it's great to see you. There's been a lot of dangerous things Donald Trump has said in recent days and weeks and years, but his lies last night about illegal, undocumented migrants coming in and a concerted effort to get them to vote fraudulently. What was your reaction when you heard him say that?
Oh, well, thanks for having me, Alex. It was really kind of a gut punch because it's not true. I mean, only U.S. citizens can vote in our elections. But what this type of rhetoric is designed to do is, one, create fear and stoke fear, obviously, and division. But secondly, also start to plant seeds of doubt in the minds of American citizens that our elections are anything other than secure and accurate, which they are. And then also to really set the stage to potentially try to challenge and overturn legitimate, fair, and accurate election results should he be unhappy with them come November. So it was really a harbinger of what could come and what's to come in the weeks ahead, and really in my view, a signal that we've all got to buckle up and try to rise above the noise and focus on the facts, which is that only U.S. citizens can vote in our elections.
Yeah, and it's hardly, without parallel. He's been saying stuff in recent days that should be ringing everybody's alarm. There was this Truth Social post he made on the 7th of September that said that there was rampant cheating in the 2020 election and that individuals who cheated will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, including election officials. I mean, the threats here are twofold, right? They're the threats against the undocumented migrants, which is part of his immigration portfolio. There is the threats to those who carry out the elections, election workers, and those who certify them, elections officials. From your vantage point, how much of a chilling effect is this having on the recruitment of people to work the polls and also those who are tasked with, certifying the elections and making sure state elections are run smoothly?
Yeah, well, it's essentially having two effects. One, there are people who are throwing up their hands and saying, you know what, it's not worth it. I want to stay home, and this isn't something where I want to put my family's life in jeopardy simply to just protect our election results. But actually, the vast majority of election officials in Michigan and across the country have seen this also as an opportunity to double down on our commitment to being professional, bipartisan, and ensuring transparent and secure elections continue to be the rule of the land. And so we've also seen an incredible emboldening of election officials who, yes, these are threats, and these are threats designed to intimidate us out of doing our duty and our jobs as election officials. But the vast majority of us have stepped into the fray knowing that after 2020, this is what we're signing up for, and we're ready. We're ready to stand guard and refuse to be intimidated. We won't back down, and we will protect every voice, every vote, regardless of how that vote is cast or who it's cast for, because we believe in democracy and, frankly, believe anyone running for office in this country should similarly believe in the truth and the facts and our election officials and stand with them instead of threatening them.
And for people who don't understand what you personally have faced and are facing, your house has been swatted. You have received death threats. There is a Michigan lawmaker who has said you definitively will be prosecuted if Donald Trump wins again in 2024. I mean, that's an extraordinary amount of tenacity and resilience that's demanded of you and anyone else in your position. And how do you grapple with that? I mean, because of course it's not just you, it's also your family and the people around you.
Yeah, I mean, it is alarming and it is chilling, I mean, frankly, to just know that these powerful individuals with great megaphones, former president of the United States, would use that platform, his ambitions, to try to threaten us for simply just doing our jobs. And to know also, I started my career investigating extremist groups and extreme leaders, and we know that false, vitriolic, violent rhetoric often does result in threats and violence or worse against the people who are the targets. And so we realize the challenge threatening moment that we're in, but we also realize our responsibility. These threats are ultimately not threats to us. They're threats to the American people. They're threats to the will of the voters and our democracy itself. And I'm proud to stand in the breach every day, and I know my colleagues are as well, because we embrace our responsibility to protect that basic promise of fair elections for our country, and will continue to defend the results of the elections, whatever they may be, this fall. And so that's really our message to the president. You can come at us with all the threats you want. And yes, it does create a harrowing environment for us to work through. But at the same time, we will not be deterred from doing our job with pride to protect the voice and votes of every citizen in this country.
Man, just a profile in courage. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, thank you on behalf of people interested in democracy. Thanks for your time tonight as well.